Defend yourself against DDoS attacks by hiding your true IP address with ExpressVPN, and visit my custom link expressvpn.com/ghilliemaster in the description to find out how you can get an extra 3 months free. It has been about a month since the bottom dollar bounties DLC released in GT Online, which is very shocking. I don't know about you guys, but to me that month kind of just flew by. But it is now time for the obligatory review of the DLC. Now, I always wait a few weeks to do my DLC reviews so we can get a full grasp on the content and how it kind of sets itself into the whole game after the honeymoon phase, although, to be honest, I don't really know if this DLC had a honeymoon phase. And the format I like to do these in is in components of vehicles, content, and then just the features or quality of life updates, going over the good and the bad. And then at the end, I'll give my overall thoughts and rating of the DLC. So let's start off with the most important part, the gameplay. In terms of day one content, we got the Vincent Vigilante or dispatch work, and the bounty business consisting of daily most wanted targets with more in-depth missions, and the hourly cycling standard targets that pay less but you can do them more often. The 6 most wanted targets are the best part of the gameplay content in this DLC, and it's not even close. These missions have some cool micro stories in there for each target. It's not quite as impactful as, say, the legendary bounties from Red Dead Online. Those are still top-notch when it comes to bounty hunting, but the missions do throw in some cool twists here and there, like the bounty van being blown up and you having to fight your way to the backup van, or getting kidnapped by the O'Neills and having to escape their farmhouse. And then the one with the Vorschlag hammer and the car meat, I think that's the first time the car meat was used for an actual mission. Those are genuinely cool. However, since these are daily missions, you only get to do one of these per in real life day, and there's only 6 of them, you're kind of left wanting more out of it. And unfortunately, it really only gets worse from there because the other bounty missions are basically just your standard grindable missions. There's really nothing too unique about them. You break into some place, kill some people, then capture the target. I found myself getting quite annoyed while grinding the tier 4 challenge, getting a mission that's not even in the city. It's just a miserable experience because you have to drive the bounty van all the way back from, say, Paleto Bay. So for most of the time, I was just finding a new session so I didn't ever have to play missions that took place outside of Los Santos. I think there needs to be some changes in terms of mission structure here, or perhaps going forward with future content. The mission needs to pay more depending on how far away it takes place. Or maybe they just use the same exact time structure they do for the contact missions and say the default pay you get no matter what is $35,000 or however much the bounties pay. But then you get an added multiplier for how far away the mission is from your starting location or your bail office. So if you have to go all the way to Paleto Bay, 6 miles away for instance, then there should be some formula involving that number that increases your payout to make the missions far away actually worth doing. Or if they don't want to do any of that, for God's sake, just give the van some upgrades so it's not painfully slow to drive back. It's just bad mission design when I'm spending 80% of the time driving and 20% actually capturing the target and like shooting people. That's just not fun. Other than that critique though, the standard bounty missions are just that. You're not really going to remember them as great content, they're just okay. Oh, also one more annoyance that I do want to mention though. Why do I have to listen to Jeanette talk about the bounty every single time I start the mission? It's a waste of time. If I've already captured the target before, I should not have to sit through the dialogue again before I start the mission. It's fine if it's for the first time, but it's annoying every single time after, especially since these missions are obviously designed to be played again and again and again. The last piece of gameplay content we got are the Vincent dispatch missions, and if you've seen my previous video about these, then you'll already know where my take stands with them. I think they suck. Instead of just putting in the vigilante missions from the older GTA games and maybe expanding on them a little, they essentially just made another type of security contract that pays less and for some reason requires a $4 million cop car to start them, when the cop car isn't even utilized on the mission whatsoever. You can literally just despawn it after you start them and just use your Pressure Mark II to complete the missions. It's very poor design. It would make more sense to just call Vincent and have that be the way you start them, because having to call on a cop car to start them is just a major inconvenience. Obviously, they made the cop car required as a way to lock them behind a somewhat large paywall. I'm not stupid, but it just would have made way more sense if the cop car was actually a pivotal part of the mission, like the old vigilante missions were. And I don't really know why they didn't just go down that road of the old vigilante missions where you're chasing down enemies with the cop car, taking them out, and then moving on to the next one. That would have felt unique and something different, and also would have fit in better with the requirement of the cop car to start them. But no, we get a mission form that we've already seen before with a 5-minute cooldown in between them. Oh, and another disappointing thing about the dispatch work, there's no reward, not even a livery or a cop outfit for completing 50 and getting that platinum award done. You get nothing. So yeah, in my opinion, this is some of the most disappointing content we've ever gotten in this game. But let's move on to the vehicles now. On day 1, we got 10 vehicles, although 3 of them are cop variants of existing cars. And some of you might disagree with me here, and that's fine, but I personally was not blown away by the vehicle choices. I do like the Envisage, the Paragon S, and the Neob. The Paragon S is probably my favorite car in the DLC. I just like how it handles, it sounds cool, and it has MyTech and armor plating so I can actually drive it in free mode without worrying about getting blown up. I really wish the Envisage had armor plating with its MyTech. I would drive that one way more if it did, because it looks like it's something out of Cyberpunk, which is dope. But unfortunately, it just has a MyTech and no armor plating, so you just die in one rocket. And the Neob is extremely fast with HSW that it's just super fun to drive to max out the speed. It's always fun driving HSW cars. As for all the other cars, they're just kind of okay. I'm not too fond of them. The Pipistrello I thought was really underwhelming. The new police vehicles are all old cop cars. Why didn't we get at least one modern cop car? Like a Dominator GT or the Buffalo STX version of a cop car? The Dominator FX Interceptor is fast, but it's still old. We really could have used a modern day police car to add some variety here. And the drip feed cars, the Vorschlag Hammer will be cool, I'm sure, but other than that, we only have the Pegassi Pizza Boy left and the regular Dominator FX, and that's supposed to last us until December. The Bounty Van should have had way more upgrades than it did. I don't know why they only gave us a respray and armor plating option when so many others exist, as I went over in my previous video discussing the Bounty Van. So huge missed opportunity there. Overall, I am going to say the vehicles were more of a letdown for me. Another disappointing aspect, and I'll throw these in together since they are both small talking points. We only got basically one new bounty hunter outfit, and it's only for the people that are on next-gen systems, so if you are on last-gen or PC, you don't even get to use the new bounty hunter accessories. There is so much potential for cool gear to be added, and cop outfits even with the addition of more cop cars, but they just didn't capitalize on it for whatever reason. And weapons, the only new weapon we got was the Shocker Stun Baton, which actually isn't even out yet. It will be out around Halloween time. And it's a neat weapon, don't get me wrong, but another non-lethal option would have been nice to have, like some sort of beanbag shotgun that just knocks people down while doing minimal damage, or stun or flash grenades. Those would have made the new bounty missions more fun, using the new non-lethal gear to clear the room and then take the target alive. And if I'm not mistaken, those were supposed to be in the original Cops and Crooks update, so they're likely still around somewhere, or at least leftovers of them. And now on to the last part of my review, the quality of life features and general changes made to the game. The armor buffs to the Sparrow and Bambushka. They're said to have been buffed by 50%. For the Sparrow, the buff is perfectly fine. It takes noticeably less collision damage, and that's all the Sparrow really needed to be even better than it already is. The Sparrow is already a top-notch helicopter. The Bambushka buff, however, is just complete dog shit. I don't know who tested this, or if it was even tested at all, but it does virtually nothing to make the aircraft better. As if surviving in the air just 1 second longer, taking one more rocket than before, makes it any better in free mode. The armor needed to be buffed by like 500% for the Bambushka to be good. And the fact that this is one of the first talking points they mentioned when discussing balancing changes is appalling because it did absolutely nothing. They didn't even bother fixing the bugged guns that have been broken for like 3 years now or more. And don't even tell me that they're working on GTA 6, dude, cut them some slack. So what if it's lackluster? You do realize changing armor values is as simple as just changing a few values in the game code, right? I can almost guarantee you, if I had access to the game code, I could make a better balancing update for the Bambushka. All it is changing damage modifiers in the files. That's all it is. They increased it by 50% and just left it like that, not even knowing how small of a change that is to the aircraft. It's ridiculous. It tells me as a player that they either have no clue how the game plays or that they just don't give a shit. Or maybe both. They also increased payouts of a bunch of different activities like taxi work, which has gotten buffed like 3 times now or something. It seems like every update they're buffing taxi work. And I really don't think this does very much since most of the activities, no one is playing for money anyways. Most of them are just contact missions. And while I do appreciate the buffs, the fact of the matter is, if they aren't buffed to match the income potential of a business within the game or a heist, then the buff will really not matter to a majority of players. That's just how it is with games like this. But perhaps during double money events, these changes will be a bit more substantial and more people will take advantage. Several businesses have had their missions changed to accommodate solo players better, so if you start up a solo cell mission now, you'll have 50% more time to complete them. Which I've heard from some players is still not enough time to do some of the missions, like the do an FAV mission for the bunker, for example. I've heard people say that it's still not enough time to complete them all by yourself. This is a half-assed change in my opinion. You have other businesses in the game already that are so solo-friendly that you only ever get one vehicle on the cell mission. Ground hangar sales, the acid lab, the nightclub. Why not just overhaul the cell missions for the biker and bunker so that you don't ever get those annoying multi-vehicle missions while you are solo? Because still in their current form, even with the time buff, I would never recommend anyone use the biker businesses if you are solo. Having to deliver 3 different box fills to 5 different locations each while solo, I think putting a cheese grater to my nutsack would be less painful. And how can we forget the patching of the classic telescope glitch? I don't understand why this was fixed. It doesn't make any sense to me unless it was on accident, but we're never going to know if it was or not, so I have to put it as a negative here. Thankfully, we have another way to achieve the same result of combining helmets and masks, but it's still very annoying that a harmless glitch like that the community loves got fixed. We also have the new GTA Plus exclusive features of claiming earnings from your businesses remotely, purchasing ammo without paying a convenience charge, and requesting and purchasing vehicles from the Vinewood Car Club through the new phone app. I'm not exactly a fan of quality of life features being locked behind a paid subscription service. That's starting to get into that territory of intentionally designing something annoying and then selling the solution philosophy. For the ammo part, I don't really know why they have to put that behind the app. Why not just take away the convenience charge for GTA Plus members when buying ammo through the regular interaction menu instead of creating a whole other spot to buy ammo and ultimately creating more UI clutter that doesn't seem to be necessary? On the topic of phone apps though in the game, how is there not a phone app for Maze Bank so we can put money in our bank faster than using the website? Banking apps have existed for years now. A Maze Bank app would make things so much faster. And don't you dare lock it to GTA Plus. Now, is the bottom dollar Bounties DLC the worst one we've had? I don't think it's the worst one. To me, Arena War still takes that crown, at least for DLCs in recent history. However, there were so many areas in this update that had so much potential if they were just handled differently or expanded on. So much more than previous updates even. There is a lot of wasted potential in this update. And no, I'm not going to give them the excuse of GTA 6 being made because a lot of the things here that I'm referring to don't even need much dev time or a lot of dev resources. Offering rewards for dispatch work. They could have just gave us a cop outfit that's existed in the game for 10 years, or one of the cop cars that have existed since 2013. Making sure the Bambushka is properly buffed, giving the bounty van performance upgrades even. So many small things that could have went a long way with this DLC, and it's just disappointing they were left out. And for my final number rating, I would have to give this a 5 or 6 out of 10. Anyways, let me know what you guys think about the Bottom Dollar Bounties DLC in the comments down below, and what rating would you give the update, and why? If you enjoyed the video or found it helpful, feel free to leave a like as well as subscribe to my channel for more GTA Online content. I also want to give a huge shout out to all my channel members for your support. If you'd like to become a member for some exclusive perks, you can either use the join button or the link that's down in the description. And as always, thanks for watching and have a great day.